Welcome back, everybody. The battle over redistricting is front and center following the Supreme Court's ruling that crippled the Voting Rights Act.
So the decision could have a drastic effect on the upcoming elections, especially right here in our area. So New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is here this morning to explain why the ruling could take us back in time. So Senator Booker, thanks again for coming in.
It's so good to be on with you all here.
Can we talk about what this really means for us? I mean, because folks here at home are thinking, okay, well, we've heard lawmakers from Georgia, Louisiana, South Carolina fighting to maintain their districts. But how will the Supreme Court decision affect us here?
Well, we want fair elections all over the country because what happens in Washington, D.C. affects all of our states. The Supreme Court, in a decision a long time ago, about 15 years, less than that, the Rucho versus Common Cause, said partisan gerrymandering is bad, but we can't fix it. And so in Congress, just a few years ago, we had a vote. Unfortunately, all Republicans voted for partisan gerrymandering, all Democrats voted against it. And now they're using that tool of partisan gerrymandering to start a race to the bottom. By Texas redistricting, it triggered California to redistricting. They followed, Florida followed, and now we're all racing to partisan gerrymander our states. The solution really is getting a Congress that will stop it. But in the meantime, New Jersey and New York can't let other states do that, because if we don't, we'll never get a chance to end this by controlling the House of Representatives.
So I went through and counted 20 states that either have new districts, are in the process of it, have court fights going, are potentially considering it. When we look at all of this in light of the deadline of midterm elections coming up, do we see Republicans ahead, Democrats ahead? Is this a wash? Genie can't get put back in the bottle at this point?
Well, it's not a wash. Republicans are getting the advantage because of the Supreme Court decision that's allowing those southern states to eviscerate African-American representation.
Yeah. And is that really getting to the crux of it here, that it's about the African-American representation in those districts?
Well, I think the larger partisan gerrymandering is about trying to control Congress even if you don't have the people with you, which is what Donald Trump set off. But for me, there's something deeper in our history about African Americans in states that historically were terrorized, beaten, lynched, to stop them from voting. The Voting Rights Act put an end to that, and now we're going back to letting states do whatever they want to, again, eviscerate black representation. So this hits hard to people who know that civil rights generation, people who were beaten, who suffered, who were jailed, and even died. And so this is all part of a dark chapter of America, which we're in right now, which is not about fairness in voting, which is not about sensible districts. It's about people in power trying to hold on to that power. What I want to see is an end to partisan gerrymandering and the other things that threaten our democracy, frankly, like the money that's in politics that's corrupting.
What could happen to the Congressional Black Caucus then?
I mean, that's the real reason why I'm flying to Alabama on Saturday to take part in a very big rally, probably over 10,000 people, because for me as an African American who know I stand on the shoulders, remember I'm only the 4th black person ever elected to the United States Senate after Obama, who was the number 3. This is going to eviscerate blacks from states who literally are in seats that were prevented from African Americans from having by some of the worst terror in our past. So there are martyrs who have died to get folks out of the South.
I mean, this is a crisis for voters of color.
It is a crisis for our country, because what we fail to understand is if we deny the democratic rights of some, we actually endanger the democratic rights of all. We're all in this together, and the country benefits, this amazing multicultural democracy, it benefits when everybody can participate fairly and freely.
You know, we have other big issues to talk about. The war with Iran. We have to talk about rising prices, how this is hitting consumers each and every single day. Talk to us about where we are now. Do we have any hope that this war with Iran is going to close anytime soon? We see just, you know, the headlines come by at such a fast clip you can't even keep up with them.
It is. I never thought I'd see this again in Congress, another Middle East war. The president promised I will keep us out of Middle East wars and lower prices. We've done the exact opposite. And so I've been leading with a group of Democrats to force votes onto the Senate floor every single week. And we're chipping away. We've got 3 Republicans now. It's not enough, it's a drip, but we're chipping away because this war is so wildly unpopular with Americans who are suffering. They're seeing their taxpayer dollars, tens of billions, not going to healthcare or education, going to a war in Iran. That the war itself, the fissile material is still in country. The regime is more radical than we started. The Strait of Hormuz is blocked. and I'm paying for it every day at the pump and the food that I'm going. It's a disastrous political failure, foreign policy failure on behalf of the president. We're suffering. And so we're trying to get that pressure up to finally get Congress to do their job. Republicans in Congress have not been holding the president accountable. We're trying to force them to check the power of this president and begin to exercise our power to bring this war to an end.
Yeah, I mean, folks are asking, are we going to get this federal gas tax reprieve? And is that going to even be enough?
I mean, at 18
cents,
how much is that happening?
But every week it goes up, it ticks up more and more cents. So again, this is looking for Band-Aids when you have a massive wound. We need to stop the wound, which is stop a president from continuing a war that is causing so much damage at home and abroad.
And let's talk about what's happening back in your home state. You had 4 major employers that just handed out a lot of pink slips. This comes at a time when you've got new college graduates who are having an increasingly difficult time finding those entry-level positions, plus people are being laid off. Talk about the current economic environment vis-a-vis that.
Yeah, I'm so angry about this economy. Again, we said a president was going to focus on the economy, lowering costs, expanding opportunity, but instead he's getting us in overseas wars, spending money on ballrooms. This is a disaster, and we've got to get back to American competitiveness and American growth and opportunity. And so again, what we're trying to do is try to create a fair playing field, not just for voting, but for our economy. These college graduates are coming out. What kind of job opportunities are they going to have? And so one of the big things I introduced a few weeks ago was, let's change our tax code. We've got the richest of the rich who are paying, and corporations as well, who are paying lower effective tax rates than firefighters or cops or school teachers. We need to start creating an economy that works for everybody, where work pays. And what I want to do is raise that standard deduction to $75,000, so people will literally get 10, 15% more in earnings overnight if we do that. But instead, we have a tax system that benefits the wealthiest wealthy under this failed idea, this failed notion that somehow that's going to trickle down to everybody.
Yeah. I wish we had more time to speak with you, but before we let you go.
Yes.
'Tis the season for higher aspirations, for higher office to come to and bloom. Am I not correct there? We heard Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez express her aspirations for higher office. Will you be putting your name
I am
in the
on
ring?
the ballot in November.
Yes.
So what I'm asking is for New Jersey to please, I hope I've earned your support for being reelected. And then we'll see what happens after that. But I do want to give a shout out to my wife, because today's a 2-year anniversary of us meeting.
Very
we had our first date
your
on May 15th.
meatversary and your first date.
Our meatversary. I didn't know that word.
You're not getting around this, though.
Did you notice that pivot?
I know. So you're not saying no to the White House, right?
I'm not saying no. I'm not taking it off the table. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least we got that on the record.
We've clipped that by. We'll put that one into the archives.
You didn't click the meativersary?
Well, happy meativersary to you and your lovely
vegan.
wife.
That meat thing sounds scary, but meativersary. Okay.
Good to see you here, and thanks for sitting down with us.
Awesome.
We so appreciate having you
Thanks
here.
again.
Yeah.